Anti-SJW YouTubers seem to be like perpetually stuck in 2016. I don't think it is a coincidence that a lot of these guys base their whole personality on being Trump supporters. And it's literally like I'm 21 when I look at their channel. Like I'm in 2016 again and I'm seeing all these ridiculous memes. Now today what I want to talk about is I want to talk about these like women that often appear on all the anti-SJWs thumbnails, not just in 2016, 2017 and 2018. Nearly at the end of 2021, they are still using memes and these women's images that first became like widespread online like 8 years ago in some cases. So today what we're going to do is just talk about all of this, go through 3 of these different like memes that are used on the thumbnails that these anti-SJWs use for their videos, and then just talk about maybe were they really like that insane to be like put all over the internet as these really reactionary feminists allegedly, and just talk about like obviously the motivations behind this stuff and where some of these people are today. But before we go any further, I want to plug my social media and Patreon for about a minute, so skip that stuff if you're not interested. Before we get any further, a lot of my work on this channel is demonetized because when you're covering more serious, sometimes edgier topics, YouTube doesn't like this. So if you've ever enjoyed my work, please consider becoming a patron. And you don't have to pledge a crazy amount. I want to build up my Patreon based on as many people as possible pledging little amounts like $1 or $2. So if you feel like I have ever brought anything that's worthwhile into your life and my content, please really consider becoming a patron to help me continue to do this regardless of if YouTube monetize or not most of my videos in a given month. Also, if you want to join our communities, come check out our Discord and my subreddit. Those links in the description. And if you want to follow me personally, please check out the Kavernacle at Twitter, at Instagram, and also my personal Reddit where you can keep up to date with all my content and what I'm doing. For every 5k we get a new chocolate orange. I'm aiming to get 2 more by the end of 2021. Help me hit that goal. I also live stream 2 times a week, and if you're looking for the archives, I upload that on the Kavernacle Extra, which is my second channel. So to start with, we should identify what sort of memes we're going to be talking about today. So I think they're called Big Red, Ficky Fiona, and like Triggered Feminist or whatever. So if we move over to anti-SJW YouTubers, we can look at their thumbnails. So here you have the quartering only 17 hours ago having Big Red and the crying woman when Trump was elected in his thumbnails. This woman appears again in a video 5 days ago, and then Big Red appears in one a week ago, and this, triggered feminist appears 2 weeks ago, and then 4 weeks ago you have the woman crying about Trump again. A month ago you have a couple of them on a video about Joe Rogan, another one on Geeks and Gamers which has the triggered feminist on a Shang-Chi one. You have Big Red and the so-called triggered feminist in a couple of them. You have another one with a woman crying about Donald Trump in another one. And you have Big Red again. Basically, you can see on the screen, you keep having these women in all your thumbnails for the last couple of months, but these guys have been doing it for years and years and years. So first I thought we'd start with the triggered feminist. Now, I haven't found any information about who this person is, how aware they are of them being used in meme templates forever. And actually what's quite funny is when there's videos about this, most of the comments say this is so unfair on this person. Now I'm going to play you a couple clips and I'm going to play you her arguing with people. Basically, originally this was an InfoWars video and it had different people arguing about refugees in America and Donald Trump. And in the background you can see her just like kind of chilling and like talking to people, seeming quite calm. And then she talks for about like 20 seconds and she seems like perfectly chill and calm talking about this stuff.
You're getting people that can't go out, women can't go out dressed like this because she's being provocative, because she doesn't have a
Girls are not allowed to wear skirts to school anymore in Germany because it might tempt the migrants.
Why should Sweden have to change its ideas of making a female-only swimming pool to accommodate to another people?
I don't want to hear about this anecdote. I don't need your anecdote.
Because you don't want to hear the truth.
Your anecdote for me,
because you don't want to hear the truth.
You're trying to use a fallacy.
We'll change the whole subject.
I'm trying to.
How many women in the U.S.?
Do you know how many?
1 in every 3. All Americans.
That's a crisis. There's a crisis. Exactly.
But if you look at what a lot of that are being recorded, that is not a fact.
So the point she made there about assaults of women being high in the US and it's a crisis is like a relevant one because they were fear-mongering about refugees in this conversation. And of course, like a lot of people who are anti-SJWs, anti-feminists would take what she even said there, which was, you know, fairly basic stuff, in a really bad way. But I think the problem is this woman specifically, even though she seems really like chilled, and I say even she seems quite nice, she's got a really, really expressive face. So here's some screen caps of me just pausing it like randomly, and her face is very expressive because she has like, you know, quite prominent white teeth and eyes, and she's quite animated speaking. So then, of course, what people did is take this completely out of context and make it look like she was extremely angry in this conversation. Like she couldn't handle what was being said and she was immediately being outraged by it. And of course, you watch the video, there is pretty much nothing wrong with how she acted in that situation, despite the context of this, I guess, argument in this big crowd with InfoWars seemingly getting a bit out of hand. She seems to stay calm, just being chill with other people, and so much so, most of the comments are saying kind of what I'm saying, like, this is so unfair to this person. So someone here saying, came here expecting to find crazy, she's actually just friendly and talkative the whole time, she totally didn't deserve to be that meme. Came for the meme, stayed for the content, she's actually pretty level-headed in this video. The lack of eyebrows and eyelashes made her face look angry. Well, I was trying to find the origin of this meme, and now having seen the interaction, I feel bad that she got labelled like that. She wasn't at all over the top or acting crazy, she was super chill actually. She's not angry all the time, she just has intense facial expressions, and I can relate to that struggle. I feel bad for the short-haired girl, she wasn't even that angry and now people making fun of her. This girl probably got her life ruined because of all the dumb memes made out of her. She probably was the most civilized person out of the whole protest. So the origin of this meme is on June 1st, 2016, the Alex Jones YouTube channel uploaded a video titled "Trump supporters shut down protesters," and then talking about in the video, a woman with short hair wearing glasses is shown arguing with a man. The original video was removed following YouTube's ban on InfoWars in 2017. On June 2nd, 2016, screen caps of the woman were submitted to For Donald, the subreddit, introducing her as Ficky Fiona. The following day, a thread about the woman was submitted to 4chan's poll board, where many nicknamed her Ficky Fiona. And then, of course, you have very popular YouTubers using her face. So a video from PewDiePie 3 years ago, is that a microaggression, having her face looking very outraged? Of course, it goes without saying there's like a great deal of misogyny involved in this, and of course attacking women for feminist positions is part of the reason that the cesspool that is the internet, mainly the reactionary side of the internet, really picks on this woman. And like you know, the comment said, I don't know what happened to this woman or she's aware of the meme, but it could have, in theory, ruined her life because she is all over the internet. Even people like Donald Trump's son and Donald Trump's campaign have used her likeness in campaign ads and stuff like that. So it is really, really unfair, obviously, and that's, you know, the brutality of the internet in certain instances. So I want to move quickly to a shorter one before getting on to Big Red, which is going to be a bit of a longer section of this video. So, of course, the woman screaming and crying when Donald Trump was elected is one of these memes. And again, I really couldn't find anything about this woman at all, despite, you know, obviously this being a very prominent viral video as well. So, if you guys somehow haven't seen this, here it is.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama for the
what a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
On the shoulder. You adjust the microphone as you told, man.
For their gracious aid.
I am so sorry to my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
We will face challenges.
There's so much potential
we will get the job done.
for beauty and for devastation. In this one moment, it's just almost incomprehensible that they can exist right now.
And we are grateful.
So close.
So obviously, like I said, I do think there's a degree of misogyny in this. And of course, women were devastated when Trump was elected because of all the allegations against him. And his election seemed like to vindicate America as this, you know, horrible, horrible nation to a lot of people who wanted Clinton to be the first female president. But with this one specifically, it seems like it was kind of inevitable it would be a meme because a lot of people seem to vote for Trump just to, like, own the libs, and this reaction to him getting in is just, of course, like, hilarious to them. Like, that's what they want. They want this reaction, and because it's so over the top and dramatic, it was pretty much always going to be used in this way. But again, it kind of shows, you know, this woman may have had her life ruined by this, may have been harassed on the internet. You know, I couldn't really find anything about her. I was looking around the internet and honestly I couldn't find anything. Don't know how this person views this stuff. But again, I feel like obviously misogyny fuels the use of these images on thumbnails. And I'm guilty myself of even using these sometimes, not because I'm making a point about obviously like a crybaby feminist. I've used it before when I've been talking about anti-SJWs, but maybe going forward after this video, of course I have to use them in the thumbnail because that's what I'm discussing. Maybe I won't use them anymore now that I've thought about it a bit deeper. So the final one is a bit more serious because it resulted in very direct harassment of this person. So Big Red became infamous on the internet for being an outspoken feminist. Now, I became aware of him from an Amazing Atheist video called Feminism versus Freedom of Speech, and I've actually spoke about this video specifically before because obviously I've covered the Amazing Atheist a fair bit. And basically, her and other protesters shut down a men's rights activist seminar, basically, and then she was giving speeches outside about the patriarchy while swearing and basically telling people to shut up. And
recently, there was a bit of a fiasco at the University of Toronto when a group of radical feminists pulled a fire alarm in order to stop a men's rights seminar in progress at the university. You can see a large group of protesters yelling in the hallway just outside the MRA group's meeting, while campus security muddles around like a lost child, powerless to get them to stop disrupting. The fire alarm then goes off and the feminists cheer like banshees, ecstatic that they've used bully tactics to silence the opposing point of view.
If you shut the f up and let me read my list, there's the
and so I obviously can't like argue that side.
So, number one, shut the f for a second. Feminists do not want you to lose custody of your children. The assumption that women are naturally better caregivers is part of patriarchy.
Oh, I like her. Isn't she pleasant?
Professional goals, thus minimizing their earning potential as their traditional marriages end. The assumption... I'm reading. I'm trying to... I'm letting everybody else hear it, okay? It's not just for you, Mr. Entitled.
So people have to remember, during this time, it was like the height of this like men's rights, anti-feminist movement. So when you have someone, you know, like this who has like red hair, almost like the pink hair, blue hair stereotype, someone who is being like very aggressive and stuff, and someone, I guess, who's being very outspoken about their feminist views, then it seems like, you know, this could have been any woman at the time, but it so happened to be this one who they focused on. And because of the nature of YouTube content, when someone like the Amazing Atheist makes a video like that, of course, loads of different, specifically skeptic YouTubers made this. Now, this obviously resulted in the woman actually facing harassment. So an article written in 2018 talks about her speaking up 3 years after the harassment. So a little over 3 years ago, a Canadian feminist with bright red hair confronted some men's rights activists outside an event at the University of Toronto. She was trying to argue a point. They kept interrupting her. She raised her voice, told them to shut up, dropped the F-bomb. She was, as she admits, a bit rude to them, more than a bit really, but being rude is not illegal, nor even uncommon. When people disagree fundamentally encounter one another in person at a demonstration, much worse things have happened. The one different thing about this confrontation, it was caught on video and uploaded to YouTube, at which point a vast army of the world's worst people decided to do their best to make her life a living hell. Footage of her at the event was posted and reposted and spliced into countless anti-feminist videos on YouTube. It's been watched literally millions of times. She was besieged with insults, slurs, and violent threats. Her image was appropriated for who knows how many creepy memes. She was doxxed. Think of any way a woman can be harassed and bullied online, and chances are it was done to her. She's laid low for 3 years, hoping that this onslaught would pass, and she says the direct harassment has died down somewhat in recent months. Now one of her haters is back in the spotlight again, and in a creepy manner. Not long ago, she stopped at a government-run liquor store in Toronto to pick up a bottle of wine. A friendly employee offered her help. In fact, he claimed later he'd recognized her from the internet and was hoping to hear her speak to make sure she was really who he thought she was. After she left, he somehow accessed the store surveillance footage, took a screenshot of her visit to the store, and put it up on Facebook. And he wrote, "Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you her name, the U of T feminist sensation from about 2 years ago. I helped her select something for about 5 minutes. Some guy interrupted us and I fully expected her to go off on a rant, but it appears that she's selective about when to explode. And now I can safely say that after speaking with Blurred, that I work with a woman more unstable than her. I deliberately asked her if she needed help to confirm her voice, and my god, everything checks out." So obviously like a massive abuse of your job role, and using surveillance footage from work to post this on Facebook is like pretty disgusting. So this even made local news in Toronto. So Feminist says LCBO privacy breach fueled flood of online hate. A woman who spent years seeking refuge from hateful online comments has said she once again has been victimized, allegedly by an LCBO employee. But in response to this, she said it's an issue of women getting harassed, especially feminists getting harassed by men, in particular people who are anti-feminist. It's a huge thing we ignore. We don't take it seriously. The level of misogyny in our culture has been exacerbated by social media. She also said, "I was vocal, I was rude. I'm not going to deny that. At the same time, it was just a war of words. I don't regret going to the protest. What I regret more than anything is that we live in a world where this is the reaction." Now, interestingly, she actually gave another interview 3 years ago called "Does Feminism Work on Men's Issues?" And she basically clarifies what she was trying to say. And just like with Anita Sarkeesian, what she's saying here does not deserve the type of reaction she obviously got in the first place. And it's totally reasonable. But again, misogynists and anti-feminists just made her a symbol of everything they hated and went after her in a disgusting way. So I'm going to play you a couple clips from the video.
Wage inequality. You know, when you look at the CEOs, the top earning CEOs, they're making like hundreds of millions of dollars per year when they're male. But then when you look at the top earning female CEOs, they're making maybe 50 million. So, I mean, really, yeah, okay, fine. Their companies are going to be different. There's going to be different dynamics in each position. I get that, but they're still fucking CEOs. They're still running the joint. There shouldn't be that huge of a discrepancy between male and female. So, you know, those are just examples. And you know, there's still a lot of sexism in terms of like gender roles, and we're still expected to be wives and mothers and things like that. So no, we're always trying to dismantle gender roles. At the end of the day, that's really all we want, is to really dismantle gender roles and make sure that, hey, you know what? If you are for example, in custody battles, like if you're the better parent, we want you to have custody. That's it. I don't care what your genitalia is or your gender identity. It doesn't matter. If you're the better parent, you get custody. If you make more money, then you have to give out the alimony. That's it. That's what it is, right? So, I mean, there's still a lot of discrepancies. Feminism is a movement about the discrepancies, like when it comes to women's equality, because we're still not there yet. And so for like when we create a space, our own space, to talk about our own issues and the things that we have to deal with, whether it be harassment or objectification or you know, income inequality, whatever the case may be, you know, these MRAs decide to like go trample on our parade and say, but what about the men's? I'm sorry, you have been taking over our politics and our media for God knows when. Like since God knows when, I should say. You know, so don't even start with that whole, oh, but you don't think about the men's issue. Well, then you know what? Start your own goddamn movement, which they have, but maybe make it a little more about legitimate issues like custody and alimony and things that you think are unequal, which all stem from patriarchy, not from, oh my God, feminists are trying to take away our kids. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to do that. I mean, if they look at the root causes of why, for example, you know, women get custody more often than men do, women are supposed to be the mothers. They're supposed to be the natural born caregivers. So obviously, duh, you has a vagina, so obviously you're going to be able to take care of the kitties. That's really what it is. It all stems from sexism against women, and same with alimony as well. I mean, women were supposed to, back in the day, they were supposed to be making you know, money and not they're supposed to be making babies and not money. And you know, that those gender roles are still ingrained in our brain, and so and still in our judicial system. So it's not discrimination against men that these MRAs seem to think it is. It's discrimination against women, and consequently it negatively affects them as well.
So again, like, it's not like the most revolutionary thing ever. She's not even making a point that often, like, you know, really annoys these types. She's not linking like sexism to things like capitalism or anything. She's basically saying that men's rights can be legitimate, but you have to be advocating for men's rights separately and talking about issues like maybe like adoption or divorce or who gets custody of children, not making men's rights just basically a crusade against feminism and fear-mongering about feminism, where you're saying that feminists want women to not just be equal but to be superior, and they want to like kick you out of your homes and everything like that. So it's clear like she's obviously like really passionate about this stuff anyway, but her takes aren't, you know, the most revolutionary I've ever heard. It's just because that video went viral, they started picking on her for, I guess, you know, the last 8 years or so. And it's clear with all these things, it's just misogyny plays a massive part in it. It's about like these hysterical women who are just like so triggered by everything, and they're so sensitive, like I guess misogynist view women anyway. When in reality, apart from the woman screaming at Donald Trump, the substance of either the videos that these things are from or what they're saying really shouldn't be that controversial, and in my mind isn't really that controversial. It's just pretty standard feminism that even if you don't agree with, you should be aware enough that someone like this saying it isn't like worthy of making crazy videos about. And like, I totally agree that, like, you know, men's rights activism is largely ridiculous. Like, there's some people who bring up like decent issues about men and stuff, but even I've made videos talking about male body images, and these guys like to say it's put on us by women. I think we put it on ourselves, and there's loads of things like that. I feel like even men's rights activists with good intentions, not sure there's so many of them, often still misdiagnose what the cause of male problems in society is. And this woman has suffered awfully. And The Amazing Atheist is one I pointed out, but I think it also plays into my larger narrative that I've been talking about lately, is that you don't have to forgive these anti-SJW types. I got a lot of pushback on my Hunter Avallone video and stuff, but for example, this big red feminist, if someone was like to her, oh yeah, like, The Amazing Atheist is alright now, like, he's a bit of a feminist, you should accept him in online spaces, she's like, well, he literally contributed to my life being awful, I don't have to forgive him. And I think that's a very good example of this stuff. And something to keep in mind for those of you who often tell me everyone on the left should welcome anyone who becomes a leftist, when my overall point in that video was like, while I don't care about Hunter Avallone being in, you know, online leftist spaces, if other people who he's hurt don't want him there despite him being reformed, then they don't have to. The same with someone like The Amazing Atheist, because their work actually had real world consequences on people, including this woman. So something to keep in mind, not everyone has to forgive everyone once they've moved away from reactionary YouTube to more centre-left YouTube. Anyway, I thought this would be a good video as part of my internet history series and just really looking into where these memes come from. And obviously the continued use of them in ridiculous anti-SJW videos obviously keeps them more relevant than they should be, and means it will basically never die why they keep using it. And, you know, I've barely used them in my thumbnails, but I guess for me, even if I'm trying to make an ironic point, after this video where I pretty much just have to use them because that's what the video is about, I will retire ever using these, because now, you know, I feel like even using them for a point which is advocating against the people who made them, these, you know, memes that ruined their lives, particularly with the big red woman, that I recognise it's just unhelpful and it's the sort of stuff that needs to die. Help these people, I guess, move on. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you want to follow me on social media at the Kavernacle on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to join our communities, check out my Discord and my subreddit. And if you want to support my work, check out my Patreon. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching.